Yeah, so hopefully everybody has a blanket for class. I'm going to focus on the hip area for class, but it shouldn't be intense. It should be relaxing since this series is Relax and Unwind. So today we'll get started in Child's Pose. And you have a couple of different options to come into Child's Pose. You can come into Child's Pose with no blanket, so no prop, as you would, sitting your hips back towards your heels. Or you can invite your blanket into, my blanket's a little bit larger, so I'll keep it unfolded, but you can fold it as much as you want to bring it underneath your seat, kind of wedging it beneath your knees. So kind of wedging it into the crease of your knees, sitting back, bringing your toes together, and then folding forward. Or you can fold your blanket. I like to fold it into thirds. You can bring it with your knees together into your belly and kind of press it down, fold your belly over it, and then start to fold over the blanket. So you can have your knees apart or together here and just find the best. You might have to wiggle around a little bit to find the most comfortable position for you. And you can have your arms out in front of you if that feels good for your shoulders, or your arms can be draped down by your side, resting one cheek on the mat. You might have to wiggle a little bit here if your forehead's on the ground. You can rock your head side to side, massaging the front of the forehead. Maybe you rock the hips side to side. See where you can tuck the chin, lengthening the back of the neck. And start to tap into your breath. And with each breath, see if you can soften down a little bit more. And slowly starting to deepen the breath. Inviting the breath to fill up the belly. And as the belly expands and contracts, see if you can invite a little bit more space to the hips as well. Now that you've found stillness and a little bit more ease in this posture, see if you can bring your awareness to any parts of the body where you might still be holding on to something. Part of the yoga practice is to create this mind-body connection. So it's good to bring your awareness to where you might be holding on to your breath or holding tension in any place in your body. in your hip creases and the connective tissues, in the shoulder area where you have a lot of larger muscles to lift things up and put things down. Just notice where in your body you might be holding on to something. And then know that some of that stored tension could be stored thoughts and emotions. So when we practice opening up the hips, some of those historical thoughts and emotions might come back up for you. One of my favorite things that I read recently was that we hold issues in our tissues. You have your muscular system and you have your fascia system. And your fascia system is basically all the connective tissue in your body, like bubble wrap when you're filling up a package. And in that connective tissue, you can hold a lot of tension. So take one more deep breath here in through your nose. And open your mouth and sigh out. And take one more deep breath in through your nose. And sigh it out and let that shit go. And you can start to invite a little bit of movement into your body here. Again, maybe rocking the forehead side to side on the ground once again. Rocking the hips side to side. And then wherever you are, start to crawl the hands back in front of you and slowly start to roll the body back up, walking the hands in towards the body, sitting back on your heels. And then if you have your blanket in front of you, you can move it off to the side. And we're going to come to lay on our bellies. And we're going to start in Sphinx pose today. So we're just going to take a moment to set everything up, and then we'll spend a little bit more time in the posture. So stacking your shoulders over your elbows, planting your forearms on the ground, and then splay the fingers apart and kind of grip the mat or the ground with your fingertips, drawing the fingers back towards your elbows, elbows in towards the hips. So you're kind of engaging the muscles of the arms, and then hug the shoulder blades together down the back. And then we'll bring our awareness to the lower body. So engaging the muscles of the legs. If you hug the kneecaps up towards the thighs, you'll feel the thighs engage and the kneecaps pop up off the ground. And then hug the heels together, keeping the feet hips distance apart, and you'll feel your glutes engage. Hug the navel towards the spine. Heart forward. Strong back. Close your eyes and maybe find stillness here. Keep hugging the heels and the glutes together to take a little bit of tension out of the low back. And if you want to invite some movement to this posture, you can drop your chin towards your chest. Let the head hang heavy. Keep pressing those forearms and elbows into the ground. The shoulders are away from your ears. And slowly start to make circles with your head in one direction. As your left ear comes towards left shoulder, press the right elbow down away from you. Notice if you're holding on to your breath. Keep moving with your breath. And start to make circles in the opposite direction. And maybe you pause with your right ear towards your right shoulder, pressing left elbow into the ground. Chin to your chest, head hangs heavy. And slowly start to bring the head back to neutral. And slowly crawling the elbows and the hands away from you, lowering the body down. You can bring your forehead or left side temple to your hands, stacking your hands on top of each other. And then bend your knees, feet up towards the sky, and start to windshield wiper your legs. Massaging the front of the legs on the ground. And then let your feet fall back down towards the floor. We'll do a quad stretch here. So bringing your left forearm in front of the body, and then turn to twist towards the right side. And you'll hug your right heel in towards your glute. And you can always put a blanket underneath your hips if you feel like your hip bones are pressing into the ground. My mat's a little bit thicker, so I'm not going to do that, but feel free to. And as you pull the heel in towards your glute, see if you can press your thigh and your pelvis forward. So you're tucking your tailbone down, inviting a little bit of a deeper stretch into the front of the right leg. So the right quad, the right hip flexor. And take 2 more deep breaths here. Maybe you start to turn towards your leg, shifting your gaze over towards your toes. And then slowly start to let go of the right leg. You can bring your head back down onto your palms, bending the knees, windshield wipering the legs once again. Noticing if one side feels different from the other. And slowly start to crawl your way back up. Right arm comes in front this time. Bend the left knee, reach back for your left toes or your left ankle. And start to press your toes towards your glute. Tucking your tailbone, pressing the left thigh into the ground to get a little bit of a deeper stretch. And then you can start to draw the left elbow, left shoulder blade back and down, bringing the gaze over the left toes. Slowly start to let go of your left foot. And then we'll start to make our way back up to the tabletop. And from here, you can do a couple of cat-cows. Maybe you come back into child's pose. Just inviting a little bit of movement into the body, using your breath. Maybe you close your eyes while you move. And then when you're ready, making your way onto your back. You can always add a little bit of padding underneath you. So you can unfold your blanket and lay down on your blanket, or you can leave your blanket off to the side. And when you come onto your back, you can go ahead and hug your knees in towards your belly. Maybe you bring your forehead to your knees, squeezing into a ball. And then exhale, release, feet plant on the ground about hips distance apart. We'll come into figure four, so crossing the left ankle over the right knee. Bring your left hand to your left thigh and press the leg away from you. Invite the breath back into the front of the body, breathing into the belly, creating space at the left hip. And then when you're ready, you can start to bring your right leg towards your chest, and maybe you clasp your hands around your right thigh. And to deepen the stretch here, you can press your left elbow into left leg, keeping the space at the left side of the body. And close your eyes here and connect back to where you might be holding any tension. Where are you feeling this? The inner left hip, the outer left hip, the back of the left leg. Just noticing where you might be feeling any sensations. And then slowly start to let go of the right leg. And you're going to cross your left leg over your right leg more. So you might need to press your right hand into your right leg, left hand into your left leg, and invite your knees to snuggle up next to each other a little bit closer. And you can hang on to your knees or your shins as you draw your knees closer to your chest. And maybe your hands can make their ways to your ankles. And once you've found this position, just take a moment to settle in. Notice if you've shifted your chin up, tuck your chin, creating a little bit more length at the back of the neck, keeping the spine nice and long. Releasing any tension you're holding in the face and jaw. Bringing the stretch to your left hip. And slowly start to let go of the legs, maybe unraveling the legs, and placing both hands on top of your knees. You can rock the knees side to side, massaging the low back on the ground. And then let your feet melt back down to the floor. And then when you're ready, bringing the right ankle over the left knee this time. Right hand comes to right thigh, pressing the leg away from you. Connect back to your breath. Maybe your left hand comes to your lower belly. Inhale, fill up. And exhale, let it go. And then when you're ready, drawing that left leg in towards your chest, clasping the hands around your left leg. Maybe you rock side to side. And then come to stillness, closing the eyes. Noticing what you're holding on to in the right side body this time. Maybe you press your right elbow into right thigh to deepen the stretch. Sorry for all the noises. Molly's made a jungle gym. And then when you're ready, you can release the left thigh, keeping the legs crossed, snuggling the knees in a little bit closer. And then hanging onto the knees, the shins, maybe the ankles, drawing the knees in closer to the chest, getting a little bit of a deeper stretch in the right hip. You can let go of the legs, drawing the knees in towards the belly, rocking side to side, getting ready for our final resting pose, doing whatever you need to do to open up the hips a little bit more. Maybe you grab onto the backs of the knees or even the outer edges of the feet, coming into happy baby. Another stretch I like to do, alternative to happy baby, is extending the legs out to the side and holding onto the inner thighs and rocking side to side that way. Gets a nice massage to the glute muscles rather than the lower back. You don't have to have your feet extended. You can bend your knees while you do this too. So doing whatever final stretches that feel good for you. And then bringing the feet back down to rest on the ground. You can come into Shavasana, or you can fold your blanket maybe in half or 3 times over, depending on the height that you'd like. And bring that just underneath your hips, raising your hips up a little bit more. And then, like you're coming into Shavasana, reach your heels away from you, reach your fingertips away from your toes, getting a lot of length in the front of the body. And then your arms can come out into cactus or maybe down by your sides. Coming into a final resting pose. Just taking a moment to notice the effects of the practice. Noticing how you feel now than when you first started. Let your hips and lower belly feel light and buoyant. With the rise and fall of the breath. And then bring your awareness to the back of the body that are connected to the floor. You really allow gravity to take over. So heels, calves, backs of the arms are heavy. Upper back and head are fully weighted and heavy. And then moving really slowly, maybe you start to rock the back of the head side to side. Inviting a wiggle of the fingers, wiggle of the toes, starting to wake up the extremities. You can bend your elbows and then make fists with your hands and make circles, massaging out the kinks in the wrists. Maybe you start to make circles in the opposite direction. And take one last long stretch, pointing the toes and reaching the fingertips up over your head, getting really long in the front of the body, stretching the front of the hips up towards the ceiling. Rib cage grows away from your pelvis. And then exhale, draw the knees in towards the belly. Rolling off to one side. And then when you're ready, you can press your hands into the ground, coming up to a seat. We'll close the practice with one final breath together. Start by exhaling all of the air out of your mouth. Exhale, really press the air out of your lungs. And then inhale through your nose. Grow a little bit taller. And exhale, side out, let that shit go. And enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your week, whatever you have planned. And I hope to see you soon.